Hey, what's up, everyone? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on something pretty incredible. We're going to find out exactly how a huge stage musical gets built, from just a single idea all the way to that big, spectacular opening night. All right, let's get into it. I mean, really think about it for a second. Making a musical is a lot like building a massive open-world video game from scratch. Or maybe like producing one of those viral videos that takes months and a huge team to get right. You start with basically nothing, a blank page, and you have to create an entire world with characters, an awesome soundtrack, and visuals that all have to click together perfectly. So, how on earth do they pull it off? Well, it all starts right here, with what I like to call the spark. This is the absolute core of the entire project. It's the story you want to tell, and the songs that are going to make that story feel alive. Honestly, if you don't get this part right, nothing else is going to matter. So let's break down the two key things that make up a musical's DNA. First, you have the book, which is kind of industry slang for the script. Think of it like a game's source code. It's got all the spoken lines, all the scene descriptions. It's the map that the entire team follows. Then you have the songs. A composer writes the music, and a lyricist writes the actual words. And these are way more than just catchy tunes, you know? They're storytelling engines. The lyrics are like a character's most iconic voice lines. They can reveal everything a character's thinking in just 3 minutes. Okay, so you've got your story and your songs locked in. Now you've got to build the world for it all to happen in. This is where the stage and the style come into play. You can think of this part like designing the levels and the whole visual aesthetic for your game. Set designers don't just start hammering away. It's a whole process. First, they sketch out all their ideas on paper. Then, get this, they build these tiny, super detailed models of the stage to see how everything's going to look and work together. And only after all that planning do the carpenters and artists start building the massive full-size sets you actually see on stage. It's a pretty cool journey from a simple drawing to a whole physical world. And of course, your characters need something to wear. Costumes are basically the ultimate character skins. They tell you the time period instantly, and they say so much about who a character is. But they can't just look cool. They have to be incredibly tough. I mean, tough enough to survive all the intense dancing night after night. Plus, they have to be designed for these lightning-fast costume changes that happen backstage. It's like high fashion combined with high-performance athletics. So the world is built, the characters have their look, now it's time to make a move. This is where choreography takes center stage. You know, choreography is so much more than just cool dance moves. It's literally storytelling through motion. Think of it as a character's special moves or their big victory dance. Every single step is planned to show emotion and drive the story forward. A show with a ton of high-energy dancing tells you a lot about the character's vibe without them saying a word. And believe me, it takes hundreds of hours of practice to get the whole cast moving perfectly in sync. Okay, we have the story, the look, and the moves. But how do you actually put all of those different pieces together? Well, that takes a huge team of people working behind the scenes to assemble the final product. The rehearsal process is pretty much the show's epic training montage. For weeks and weeks, the actors are in a room just grinding, learning lines, mastering songs, and drilling the choreography over and over. And the director? They're like the head coach, guiding every single scene and making sure everyone is working together like one single, well-oiled machine. And it's a very organized process. They build the show in layers. For the first couple of weeks, it's all about learning the absolute basics, the music and the words. Then they start adding in the staging and the dance moves. After a while, they start doing full run-throughs of the entire show, and then, in that final, crazy week, they do full dress rehearsals with every single tech element, lights, sound, everything. Oh, and speaking of tech, there's a whole invisible army that makes the show run smoothly. You can think of them as the server admins or the stream mods of the show. You've got sound engineers making sure every mic is perfect, lighting techs who literally create the mood with light, stagehands who move these giant heavy sets in total darkness, and of course the live orchestra providing that amazing soundtrack. You might not see them, but without them, there's no show, period. So finally, let's talk about the people right at the heart of it all, the performers. What does it actually take to be a pro doing this stuff on Broadway? I want you to focus on this one number, 8. That's how many times a professional actor performs the exact same, incredibly demanding show every single week. It is a wild athletic feat that requires just an amazing amount of discipline and self-care, day after day after day. Yeah, to do this job at the highest level, you usually have to be what's called a triple threat. It's kind of like a gamer who has completely maxed out their stats in 3 different skill trees. These performers are elite-level singers, dancers, and actors, and they have to fire on all 3 cylinders at the same time 8 times a week. It's just wild to think about. So if you boil it all down, that's what it is. A musical is just a massive, massive team effort where the story, the music, and all the design elements lock together perfectly to create one single amazing live experience. So now that you've seen all the pieces that have to come together, the writing, the design, the performance, I've got a question for you. If you could make a musical about absolutely anything at all, what would your story be about? Think about it. Thanks for hanging out with me today.